Hi kids, do you like aggro? Want to see what happens when we mix cultists with Gero? Want to see why I think this deck can make your opponent's eyes roll? Durek Rask said, "Nothing, you idiots. Durek Rask is dead. He got shot in the head." This is Cultist Gero. Yes, that's right. Vengeance Gero is now Cultist Gero. All the responses I've been getting for more decks. We're here to do decks, but before I get to this one here today, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you let people know what we're up to here. Pass the word of mouth if you like the deck or you don't. Let me know in the comments below. So here's the deal, guys. We've had these new cards added from the Galaxy and Flames collection. We've got some new neutrals added, a bevy of cultists, and it took a little bit, but I finally got Preacher of Doom for some reason. He just wasn't showing up in crates for me. And man, I wanted to run well with him. I've had some fun with him in a couple decks, and one I thought would just be silly. It's silly, is Gero. Gero, Gero. I haven't done a Gero video. I never did a Gero video. The fact is, I've had a lot more fun playing Typhon and Morog. I've done videos for both of those. Gero is your least Death Guard. I played Gero briefly, I think, way back when. And I used to play him for like challenge games to like win quickly or heal. This is before these warlord stats were added, so I would just sit there and use my ability to heal the whole game, play a troop, heal, play a troop, heal. But he gives you the option to act again after you put a troop in play. Doesn't matter what kind of troop it is, you just gotta play a troop. For 2 energy, he can heal, or he actually doesn't heal, he adds 2 health and removes poison from a friendly unit. So that makes it 1 of 3 units that can remove poison. He does not remove stun, however. But he's got 30 health, and that is his weak side. That's his downside. So you got to hit hard, you got to hit fast, and you got to have some reach. The problem with playing too many low-cost troops, which is the typical Gero approach, throw down some Meldon squads, maybe throw down the Cortog bike, a lot of 0-cost or 1-cost neutral infantry, just to get rapid fire attacks and heals, and maybe draw some cards with the Fastidian infantry. That's great and all, but you're going to peter out. You're going to draw out a lot, and ultimately in some matchups, your board's going to be very fragile, very easy to clear. So that's where Preacher of Doom kind of comes in, kind of replenishes it. He's going to give you a friendly infantry. Whenever they die, you get a cultist, and there's lots of cultists, not just these little weenies. You could make yourself another Preacher of Doom. You could make yourself a Cultist Acolyte. You could make yourself a Righteous Zealot. You could also get some decent bodies out there now that some cultists have been added. The Cult Veteran. Maybe you want yourself these guys, the Cygnus Demagogue, which is even better, or the Insurgent Leader for some beef. Gero wants to play the lower cost guys if he can help it. And there's a lot of plenty below 2, but that doesn't mean that that's all he wants. So I was playing around with it. I thought I'd have fun with it. I thought the idea would be silly. I thought the concept of just like Cultist Gero, why not? Let's go with it. Let's play a deck. I haven't played in a long time. And I'll tell you what, guys, it works relatively well, too fast. It's not my style. But I'm going to do a video for it so you guys can see what it is. And this is really just the first draft. I think if you fine-tune it, I think you're going to get a better machine. It's got a little bit more reach. But there's a fine line between what I wanted to do, which is Cultist Gero, and using the Preacher of Doom, and maybe even using that new wonderful chaosy, where is it? Yeah, Clandestine Cult. I wanted to use that as well, because I'm running Cultists, why not? Try it out, and then there's that versus like just playing your standard Gero, and that's not fun. That's boring. That's lame. That's old. That's so 2019. But first, let's take a look at a game here. It's going to go by quick, and then we'll break down the deck. So the thing with Gero is, yeah, like no hand, because he's going to have so many low-cost cards. Very rarely are you going to have a hand that you're going to have a problem with. You're like, look, I just want to put bodies down. I want to draw. I want to attack. Even though you've got 30 health, you're 5 health under. What you've got is you've got a lot of stuff that's going to quickly overwhelm your opponent very early on in the game, or give you the option, even if your opponent puts down like a 3 health troop, right? You're like, okay, cool, I'll play 2 troops and kill it, and then I'll have 2 troops on the board. You'll have nothing. I'll have taken some damage, perhaps, but the fact that Gero can turn around that late game and heal himself up, that's actually not too bad. Like, that's actually not too bad. Like, what I could have done here if I want to is then play a Meldon squad and healed that. I'm just looking to race him down because, like it or not, this is aggro. This is aggro, baby. This is what they do. This is what aggro does. But also, he had more health than me. And you got to find ways to get beyond that reach when you are a 30 health warlord and you're facing either 35 or a 40 health warlord. There's got to be that moment where basically you gain the momentum. And right here, there's that shift. You got a troop on the board. That's great. Doesn't matter for my purposes. Essentially, I get to play that Preacher of Doom. Woo woo! That's great. He's already given me bodies. I'm not worried about Ralderon doing his thing, but what I am worried about is getting some heat here. So let's whittle him down. And you think, oh, you don't want to be 12 health, and he's 15. I kind of do. I kind of do here because he's only got 5 energy, and that's where the speed comes in. If you played Karn, you understand. You should understand. This is what it is. This is what this is. Rush them, hit them hard, fast, have options on the board that they have to deal with, and they don't have the time or comfort to be able to respond to. Now I've evened the board. Guess what? Free troop incoming. I can do it again, or I can just like buff up my little weenie zealot. 2 extra damage here. Why not make it a 2/2? Hit hard, hit often. So even if Ralderon uses his ability on the Cygnus Acolyte that I play, I don't care, because now my zealot's a 3/3, and he's got 5 health left, and it's 6 energy. That's it. Like that. It's cookie cutter. I don't want to say it's cookie cutter. Cookie cutter might be like a little severe, I suppose. Cookie cutter might be a little severe. But yeah, here we go. Let's get some health back. Let's kill some things. Let's go hard. Let's hit hard, baby. Let's get +4 health. We did nothing. We did nothing. I can't stress, like, I mean, this is just, look, this is what Gero does. This is what Death Guard Gero does. Hashtag give us Gero for Agents of the Sigilate. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, that's what we need. This cannot stand. Decks like this, games like this isn't the Legions I signed up for. This is just a reason for me to basically bring Gero to the spotlight and remind people that, yeah, he still exists, but this isn't the Gero I want. And this shouldn't be the Gero you want. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not fun and makes for quick games. It also doesn't mean, like I said earlier, that this isn't a good first draft to build on and expand on. It's not something that I'm personally going to do a whole lot of. Might tweak it a little bit, but quite frankly, it's just not my style. Now, quickly, can I just shout out and point out that this Gero art has got to go. We have got alt art Loken. We've had a new art done, an in-house art done for Saul Tarvitz. We had a new art replacement for Karn. These are all like release warlords. Can we please, Everguild, get a new art or even an alt art for Nathaniel Garro. This is going to be in the Q&A. I'm going to be talking with Mr. Everguild this weekend. But here's the deck. Look at this. This is just stupid. Look at these 2 cost cards. And my highest cost cards are 2 endurance, 2 copies of endurance. Why? Because it's endurance. There's absolutely no reason not to run this. Everything I have in here is either cultist, infantry, low cost, or cards that can draw or create more things, give me more damage. 7 tactics. What are my tactics in here besides the endurance? We've got 2 unidentified vessels. For 3 energy, I'm drawing 2 troops. As you can see, I've got loads of troops that cost 2 or less. Loads of troops. So this is basically 3 energy, draw 2 cards that I can then play quickly and efficiently, and that's, you know, another 6 attack or 4 attack or whatever I want to roll it. So we've got that. We've also got the defensive maneuver, which is a draw card. Maybe it's 2 to draw 1, maybe it's 2 to draw 4. It's a draw card. It's better than Lactitio for 2 energy. Your opponent doesn't draw anything. That's a good card to have. I did keep Clandestine Cult in there. I had two copies of it in there, but the fact is this doesn't give card draw, and Gero himself needs it. This particular deck. I think there's another cultist deck out there where I don't have to, you know, where I can actually run 2 copies. But this particular deck, you need to be able to draw cards. Clandestine Cult gets better the more cards you have in hand, obviously with them being cultists. So this is really nice. Now, a thing to note with this card when I played it is it doesn't quite show in your hand yet. I think the animation typically should show a little bit better that the cards that have been played that have stealth. So you actually have to take a look to make sure that you're playing the right cultist that gains stealth. That's important to note. I've got 1 copy of Blight Grenade because I found that 2 copies of Blight Grenade did not do because I found that 2 copies of Blight Grenade, much like Clandestine Cult, like it does its purpose, it does 2 damage, maybe it kills 1 or 2 or all troops, great, fantastic, and hits the World Lord, but I only need to do that 1 time because I'm all about speed. I'm all about speed in this deck, baby. Endurance, boom, clears the board, gives me health. Pi Alpha 52 is your non-cultist troop in here because he heals and removes stun. Essential. But here's something worth noting. Please, people who play Gero, and I face them every now and then, and I see them play a Pi Alpha and then just face strike me once. It's like, that's it? You remove stun to hit me 1 time? Save your Pi Alphas. Save them for the time when you've got 2 or 3 other troops to drop on the board and burst. Now, there's cards in here that, quite frankly, I would like to put out. I'd like to get a little bit more reach in there. And again, there's that borderline between then you go too far into Gero. I'm going to talk about that after a couple more replays as far as like cards that you could swap in and move out. But really, Preacher of Doom does fantastic work. Cygnus Acolyte is just a cultist, which is why I've got him in here. The same thing goes for the Cultist Acolyte as a one-of, because it's like, yeah, you know, throw it in there. Why not? We'll give it a whirl. Righteous Zealot. Righteous Zealot is actually really good in just regular Gero because, as you saw in that last game, it's 2 cards, it's 2 troops, it's a free kill, backlash, put in troop, and then Gero can act again. Cygnus Fanatic is a fantastic cultist for 2 cost, probably one of the best. Trader Crew, guess what? Choose a Chaos Infantry, and add to your hand. Wow, how many Chaos Infantries are cultists? A lot. And many of them are low cost. Not all of them, but many of them. So, and then we've got 1 Watchers in the Dark, honestly, because I found that it's a chaos troop. It's not a cultist, but you know, it's cool. It's got a jam, which can be very nice if I need to jam a front line or something with Survivor. Just putting that on the board 2nd turn if my opponent doesn't have a stealth answer or a board wide answer, they're gonna get frustrated. But then if they do, they blow it to get rid of that Watcher, the pesky Watchers in the Dark, and then I drop like 3 or 4 more cultists on the table, or at the very least I've got Watchers in the Dark. I'm like, hey, you know what, there's nothing for me to jam in this game. I'm going to drop Preacher of Doom. I'm going to throw away my Watchers in the Dark. I'm going to get a random cultist in my hand. I'm going to play that cultist, and I'm going to keep it going. Whittle down, win, play fast, play hard, aggro, Gero. Guess what? They actually have the same letters. Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence, right? You just swap the A and the G. I'm just saying. Yeah, so I mean, you know, when you're facing another fast deck, what do you do? What do you do? Well, you hit hard, you hit fast, and then basically you give them too few things to hit back at you. Now, the reason I played this, and I found that in this game particularly, this sacrifice is not something he wants. It's 2 extra damage. It's not a big deal. But I wanted him to blow a turn and not make a troop. If he didn't, great, cool. I could have played the Preacher of Doom and hit him with a cultist and got a free cultist. That alone would have been cool. But really what I did is I blew his turn so that he could not make a scout. Now he still has the counterattack, and obviously he's playing the mission here. Not a big deal. All right, cool. He's going to do that. He's going to get the streak going. This game will be over. If he gets the mission, the game's over before he gets to benefit from it. And if he doesn't, the game's going to be over because he's not going to get that chance to do the mission. Stun is not going to be a problem in this game. So what I'm doing here is just, as you saw in that last game with Ralderon, this is the moment I move ahead in health. I have more health. He has less health. And now I can just like hammer, hammer, hammer and get him down there further. Sure, he's got more cards in hand. This isn't, you know, like 3-card hand is not a great hand to operate from, but Gero can switch it up a little bit if I need to. And what I'm going to do is use this bike to do some dirty work for me. That's it. Like, I'm just going to, you know, whittle him down. He's got 4 health now, less than me. And now he's got, you know, still 4 health, but he's got 9 health left. He's only got 5 energy. If you play White Scars, you understand when they can come online. You know what they're capable of. You know what their reach is. And very, very smartly, he gets rid of the bike because I can heal the bike. So very smartly, he got rid of that, which is fine. But I've got a front line protecting this troop here. So I'm just going to heal up. We're going to heal up. We're going to tank up. He bought himself a turn. Will it be enough? The answer is no. I mean, I'm just gonna tell you what's gonna happen in this game. And again, we're at that 6-7 energy. If he wouldn't have had the precog, the game would be over. As between those units on the board as well as Captain Ujioj, we would have done enough damage really just to kind of wipe him out. He's working hard. He's playing all the cards that he possibly can. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is I've got a card like Trader Crew, which is basically 2 troops in 1. It doesn't matter what I'm picking here as long as I can play it, because now I can attack. I can play it. I can attack again. I can play Ujioj and I can attack again. 2 streak away from winning the game. It's fast. It's efficient. This is what it does. So there are several cards, and I'll when this game is over, and it won't take too long. There are several cards I want to go take a look at why I haven't included, or what you could include, I should say, in place of this. Now this right here, this is just a great start for your Oathar in most situations. Sadly, not in this game. Even though the health difference can quickly swing in favor of Oathar. He's got the ability to give himself free health. He can heal troops. He's got troops with ward that I'm going to have to deal with either with my troops or with Gero face striking multiple times, which is something I don't want to do. What I'm going to go ahead and do here is take the time to give stealth to these guys, which is perfect, because I wanted to play that card. Got to play it like a couple times. But when you play it, it really helps, especially in a game like this against the Space Wolves who have flank. And if you can stealth your cultists, they can't flank them, and that means that you get a benefit from them more. And obviously, he's hoping that that will protect him from my Kortog bikes, which is not a bad play. Honestly, it's not a bad play. What I'm going to do here instead, though, is I'm going to spend some time healing and get as much traction out of that bikes as I possibly can to put them ahead. It still remains on the board, and now not only do I have the 3-2, the 3-3 on the board, I should say, I've got 3-1. So I've got 2 targets that he's going to jam. Gets rid of the backlash. This is still a 3 health troop. Blows a tactic on it. Okay, you wasted 2 actions on something that's going to do work for me. Like, that's it. And all I have to do is get to 6 energy, and I won't clear his watchers, but I'll clear anything else that he's got. And that's really what I want to do. Like, I just want to throw down things. It doesn't matter what I'm throwing down. Like, Other's got the health, but now I am ahead by 4. And I'm going to pull ahead by 7. And even though you've got ward, you can add on extra health, maybe even pull out like a punitive strike and get rid of 2 of these troops. You have to use your warlord to do it. That's not great. And yeah, this is going to be hurting. I don't get a free unit from the zealot, sadly, but it's 6 energy time. This is game anyways. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I don't want to look. I'm not trying to get you guys to play Gero. This is not for me, and this is not a perfect deck, but I'm showing you how it works, why it works, because you know what? People want to see decks. The word is out. I got your guys' poll responses. People want to see decks. I want to give you guys decks. Let's do it. So, cards that I don't have in here. Cards that you might want to consider or change some things around. As long as you want to be true to Cultist Gero. If you want to go join your own cult or get rid of the Cultist altogether, by all means, do so. But don't tell people that I told you to do that, because I like to have some variety. But you could have a second Meldon squad in there. They're frontline. That's great. That's fantastic. Yay. Temperature squad is not a bad 2-drop. Now, if you're going away from Cultists, that is. The reason I'm saying I've got so many 2-drops in here, many of them have got backlash abilities. They've got low health, but they've got backlash abilities, or they've got rally abilities, or something that will increase their value. Temperature squad increases the value as well, because if he survives, he gets that 1 energy. The problem is that 1 energy is a troop buff card. It is not a troop itself. So if you're going to play with Temperature Squad, you're probably going to want a few more troops with more than 2 health. 2 3s are great. 2 4s or 1 4, which is why the second Meldon squad is much better. Whereas right now I'm playing with a lot of 2 2s, right? Like they're dead and gone. As you're seeing, they're disposable. Like the whole purpose of this deck is to dispose things for my Preachers of Doom. But if I want to shift it up and stay away from Cultists, then Temperature Squad is actually not a bad troop to do so. Typically, also, Vengeance is the reach that Gero wants to have. Whether you want to have 2 copies or 1 copy, that's up to you. But basically, this is his 5 to 8 reach in addition to his other attacks that he's throwing down, because he's playing the bikes. He's playing the Sorak bikes. He's attacking twice, and then he throws down a Vengeance. There's reach there. You could do Goldstone Hunters, which are fast units, which you're going to have a lot of troops anyways. So therefore, you're playing fast. You could throw down Nurglings, because Nurglings are, you know, going to return back to your hand if they die, and that's a card that you can always use. That's not a bad thing to do. You could definitely throw in the Kabbalist Cultist, right? They're a little bit better than the Cygnus Acolyte. The reason I have the Cygnus Acolyte, though, is because of that backlash. That +1/+1 to another infantry is very nice when I make my Preachers of Doom 2 4s as opposed to 1 3s. I stayed away from the Cygnus Disciple because this is a 2/2 with not a rally, and he just destroys himself. I'd rather kill him by attacking. But, you know, if you don't have a whole lot of options, you can go that way. If you don't have Traitor Crew, then you may want to look into something like maybe a Lectitio Divinatus. I mean, for some extra draw or like ways to get some cards in there. But you really want to limit troops that you have above 2 cost for aggressive Gero. Now, on the other hand, if you want to keep the cultist alive a little bit, maybe shift off a few of them for a couple Khazdraks. That's very nice. That's a good trade. And one of my initial builds, I had Drachnian and Khazdraks in there, but it was a little cluttered. I had to decide, do I want to do Preacher of Doom, Clandestine Cult, or do I want to do Khazdrak Gero? And really, I want to do the Preacher of Doom and the Clandestine Cult. And I've had a lot of fun when it works, man. You get some fun stuff going. Your opponent's like, wow, I thought you only had 2 cards in your hand, and now you've got 4, and all those bodies are, oh, this is not good. And it makes them sad. Secretary Axiarch is in there for the infantry buff. Like, that just seems like a given, but you could get rid of them because they're not chaosy. Or if you're going more with the Death Guard, then your infantry here is not fantastic. However, this is a really good card for Gero because even though it doesn't have a rally or a backlash, it has Survivor 1, which means it requires a little extra from your opponent to get rid of it. That is nice. Dark Tech Adept might be an option to consider with the 3 energy troops if you're not doing your cultists because of his Mechadendrites, in the same way that Temperature Squad is giving you options. Silex Guardian also, just with a way to give you flank or front line for cheap, is not a bad thing too. Flank is conditional though, as long as it's the only troop that you've got out there first. And then you can go with the old tried and true, right? Kaiserlane, Friends Militia, Fastidian Infantry, blah blah, like the lame stuff. Demoralized Militia is actually not bad for a 2-drop as a 3/3. That's actually pretty good. We're totally out of the cultist ballpark though. At that point, if you're doing that, you're just doing regular Gero, Lord Malkiel. Again, you know what? You want to do that, go do it on your own time. Don't blame me. I told you to do fun things. Goldstone Hunters is that last reach card. So those are the options. Those are the things that you can do with Gero. You can do a lot. It's not the Gero I want. It's not the Gero that we deserve. We deserve a better Gero. We deserve an Agents of the Sigilate Gero. I want everybody to get in on this chant. Hashtag make it trend. Give us Gero. Hashtag give us Gero. Ring it out loud and proud. Hit that support button and tell Everguild what we want, because when that 5th Agents of the Sigilate Warlord comes out and it's not Nathaniel Gero, I don't know. I just don't know at this point. Like, I mean, who else could be? Iapo? Iapo is a terrible 5th warlord. He's just not a good option. He's just not. This is Gero. Forget the art. Forget the art. We don't want this art either. You know what? Just give us a whole new Gero. Call it something else. Call it Sigilate's Chosen. Nathaniel, whatever. I don't care, Everguild. Make it right. Do what we all want. We want to have a Gero that does something better than this in a faction that can reward him. I'm not even going to speculate on what that could be. But it's something we're going to be chewing Mr. Everguild's ears on. You can believe that. Next week, pay attention to the upcoming Q&A in the podcast. We're going to be hosting that again. Physics teacher is going to be joining me with that one to discuss, and hopefully by the time this episode airs, we'll be a day or two away from recording that. So we've got a lot of questions from the community to ask, a lot of good questions. Some not so good, but many of them are good and aiming at a few particular points, which I feel the community really wants to get a response or understand, get Everguild's understanding on the issues. But all that aside, this has been Cultist Gero. I hope it's been eye-opening. I hope you understand exactly what it is, how it works, why it works. I hope you think about giving it a try just for the sheer grin of it, because it's cultisty and it's wacky and you're using new cards and that's fun. But don't go playing regular Gero and saying Scuffy told you to do that, because I did not. I told you exactly. Now, granted, this plays exactly like classic Gero, but it's not. I guarantee you. You'll have a different experience altogether. You'll have a more chaos-like experience, and that's what I want to offer you. Something new. So, that's it for me, guys. Until next time, keep playing Legions, and we'll talk to you later.